Cool.
Yeah,
Great.
So this is exciting.
Sure is.
Yeah. So
my brain is going to have to go back 50 years now.
Wow.
So yes, let's see what happens.
You've got some amazing material, and some amazing stories, I bet. Is my audio on?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, of course, this stuff has just sat in my house for 50 years, only getting it out occasionally. And all my friends knew that I worked on this film. And in fact, I was speaking to one of my oldest friends, Derek, on Sunday because it was his birthday. And when I was looking at my diary from 1972, Derek actually came up at the last weekend, and I drove back home. It was an 8-hour drive for me, and when I said to Derek, "Oh, I found you in my diary," the first thing he said to me was, "Yes, we went to a party with Edward Woodward." It obviously had a lasting impression on him as well. He said, "Yes, you picked me up at the hotel, and then we went and picked Edward Woodward up, and we went to a party somewhere and stayed till the late hours of the night." So Edward was obviously still up there on the very last weekend we were up there filming.
Nice.
Yeah. So when did you first go up to Scotland?
I went up I can tell you exactly. I drove up on Sunday the 8th of October 1972.
To Plockton?
Sorry? No, I only went to Newton Stewart. I didn't go up to Plockton.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I had an 11-hour drive up to Scotland from London.
Mm-hmm.
Bearing in mind there were I don't think the M6 existed then, but certainly I had this little Triumph Hill estate that was absolutely packed full of paperwork and goodness knows what. Yeah, it took me a 11-hour drive.
Wow.
Up to Newton Stewart and settled into the Galloway Arms Hotel, which sadly, as you discovered last year, John, is shut.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is very sad. And then I went up on the 8th of October, and then I travelled back home the 29th of November.
Oh, really?
So what's that?
What's another
8 weeks or so?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
6 weeks maybe. But then
It's about 8 weeks.
They finished shooting on the 25th, so you were there for a couple of days extra. Do you remember anything about that?
Yeah, I've got in my diary. Finished filming on the Friday the 24th.
Okay, 24th. Huh.
Well, that's what it says in my diary.
Okay.
Whether
Oh, that's cool.
what you have to remember is I was a 19-year-old then.
No.
So, but because I was with the production team, we were tidying up. We were based in the big building, Douglas House.
Uh-huh.
So we were tidying up everything, packing everything away to bring it back down to London.
Yeah.
So I came home. I got down that we finished filming on the Friday, and I didn't drive home till the following Wednesday. So there's obviously a lot of tidying up to do and things. So yeah.
So prior to going up to Scotland, so you were working for the Shaffer and Hardy Associates advertising company. So when did you first hear about the Wicker Man and that there was a film in the offing? Can you remember that?
All I can remember is all the time I was working there, Robin, and there was always books. I can distinctly remember copies of The Golden Bough sitting around, and lots of references of meetings taking place and this script being produced and all sorts of things. Because obviously we were still making commercials and stuff like that. And again, I was just the messenger sending out to fetch stuff. So I don't know if I had any. Did I feel it was a very important thing? I was 17 when I first started with Hardy Shaffer, and in awe of all this filmmaking stuff and why it took so long to make the 30-second commercial and all the stuff that went with it. So there was always lots of little bits going on, lots of little discussions. I was involved with going out looking for plastic or artificial apple blossom and stuff like that, because we moved from, I think I was actually given notice. I think Hardy Shaffer Associates was winding up because Robin was concentrating more on the Wicker Man, and he took me on to go. He took me on to go and work with him, almost as an assistant for him in Eaton Terrace, where his house was. And that's when I really started to see things like meetings taking place with producers and Tony Shepard turning up and stuff like that. And I think I showed you the photograph. I've given you. You've got the photograph now that we took of the what do you call it? Twins, the girls.
Yeah, the
coming to have casting sessions. Geraldine and
Jacqueline.
What was the other one?
Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Jackie.
That's right. So there's those pictures of them actually in the back, in the downstairs back garden at Eaton Terrace. So there was always things happening around for me to go and fetch and to do, take copies of scripts to people and deliver. Even before we went off up to Scotland, I can remember looking at all these artificial gravestones that were being produced, like polystyrene stuff, would turn up, being beautifully weathered and things with snakes and God knows what else all over them. So they'd be brought into to Robin's house to have a look at, and are they big enough? Are they? One of the things I was very, very conscious about was that Robin Hardy had really cut his teeth, as far as I could understand, on advertising. And when he was doing advertising films, he was looking at the minutiae of what was going to be on screen.
Yeah.
And I do know that from some of the discussions that I was later listening into when we were up in Scotland, was there was far too much concentration on, like, for instance, Robin was really, really interested in the detail of what was on these gravestones.
Right.
When actually the camera panned past them. See, I'm remembering all the technical words now.
Yes.
But there was he seemed to have an overemphasis on looking at very small details.
Yeah.
As opposed, which you would do if you're making an advert.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you're concentrating on a package or getting a story over in 30 seconds. So he was very involved in whether these gravestones were going to look right or the image they were going to portray.
So who was making the gravestones? Was that a prop company or
Keeley? I honestly can't remember. There must have been a prop company involved or something.
Yeah.
There might be some info about that in the film finances stuff. I think they or Shamus might have some info on that on addresses and stuff.
So do you know when did Shamus get involved? Was Shamus Flannery coming to Eaton Square, or was he?
He seemed to be around. There was Shamus, and Peter Snell was around quite a lot because he was the producer, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he was around quite a lot. Shamus seemed to be in quite early. When I say early, it must have been 6 months or more before. Wow. Always turning up with drawings, bits and pieces like that.
Okay.
Have you looked at the book?
Fascinating.
Yeah, because that's got some of because that's got some of Seamus Flannery's drawings in the plans of Wicker Man and costumes and the Stonehenge or the standing stone sections. So
it's amazing.
I was going to say
it's amazing to think. It's amazing to think that. Sorry. It's amazing to think that all that stuff was being built in polystyrene, whereas today, I suppose nowadays, you do fiberglass and all that sort of thing, or something more solid. So it was quite. and I think that was intriguing for me to see what they could actually do with a bit of polystyrene to turn it into all sorts of things. I never actually saw back at the studios. I never saw the trees that were built until we got up to Scotland. The trees that were
apple blossoms.
The apple blossom trees.
Yeah. The fake apple blossom trees. Yeah.
Yeah, the fake trees. Yeah, I never saw them. I'd been picking. I think I said to you. I was sent out one day to go and buy as much fake apple blossom or cherry blossom or pink blossom as I could, and I had to label it all up with where I bought it, which shop I bought it from, and stuff like that. And then there was I remember Seamus being there in this like the dining room at Eaton Terrace with what does this look like in the light? What's this going to look like? Does it look like? I mean, what does apple blossom look like anyway? That sort of thing. It's sort of. So I wasn't party to which one was actually chosen.
Yeah.
Whether it was any of those ones that were chosen, but certainly the bits and pieces that we had in the office were the ones that were used that are behind the girls when we were photographing them for.
The Kappa twins.
And it was used to me the other day. That's the picture that Edward Woodward is going around showing people, isn't he?
He passes round, yeah. So prior to going to Scotland, did anything else happen? I remember you saying to me you were asked to look at strippers from behind. What was that process?
We one of the guys that worked with Robin called Mike Naylor, but he worked with Hardy Shaffer Associates.
Yeah.
Phoned the house one day and said, "Could I take the Polaroid camera over to Soho?" Because and I met him in this strip joint, and there were a couple of girls bouncing around, and we took some Polaroid pictures of these girls to try and see whether they could. I think my family were horrified when I went home and said, "Oh, I've been to Soho down the strip club." But it was just part of. I don't know whatever happened to those Polaroids. They probably got lost somewhere along the line. But certainly, photographs were taken in a strip club in Soho of the backside of a girl, on the back, of course.
Yes,
they took photographs. Yeah, they didn't take any photographs of the front because they were mainly concentrating on the rear.
Yeah, because they were looking for a rear double.
The bum double or whatever you call it. Yeah.
So do you know? So there's a big controversy. I'm sure you read it in the book about Britt Ecton talking about.
Yeah.
So do you know who the bum double was?
No.
Right. Okay.
No, I can't say I do.
Right.
Sorry about that.
So
because John,
she's not in the castings, is she?
Yeah. Because John, there's a controversy, isn't there, about who was the bum double? There's Lorraine Peters.
Yeah, we have a contract from Lorraine Peters for, I think, the correct date of when that scene was shot, of Willow's dancing scene was shot. So that kind of matches up. And then we also have this woman who's Jane Jackson, who has been on various documentaries saying that she was the body double. Lots of people deny that, Gary Carpenter in particular. And I don't know. I believe Gary, and I think it's possible that she could have been used to block the scene, so that they knew what they were, how to, and so Britt could see it. But I think Jane is either ill or has died at this point. But she was telling the story for a long time that she was the body double. So and I guess they didn't use somebody from the Soho Club, is what you're saying, that they decided. Because Lorraine was from, I guess she was from England, but I don't know if she's from. She wasn't an exotic dancer, as far as I know. She was just theoretically she was I was told she was an actress and had been doing a dancer, not an actress, but a dancer, and had been doing other roles. So, but I don't know. That's.
So was there anything?
And I'm afraid.
Well, you carry on.
I was going to say, I'm afraid I'm afraid the day they were shooting that sort of stuff, it was a closed set, so to speak. Yeah. They didn't need. So I wouldn't have been there or anything like that. It was as few people as possible were there. That was as necessary to do the actual shooting, and the same sort of set thing when the girls were dancing in the around the stone over the fire, the jumping over the fire. Yeah. It was very much need to be there basis.
Yeah. So John, Mr. L. So remind me who the girls were who did the dancing around the stones. It was
the Edinburgh School of Dance,
right?
Which is Stuart Hopps. He was the director of the Scottish Ballet, I think, or at least School of Dance or something. And I have to look at my notes to get exactly right, but he was the connection for that. And apparently they're the schoolgirls too, which I find hard to believe. You don't get to see the fire dancers close up, but they don't look like, from what I have seen them close up, they don't look like the same ones as in the schoolgirls, but apparently they're the same. At least that's what we're thinking. So
if we think of the big...
I think you're right. I think they were the same girls.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
that's
good.
Interesting. Good. So if we think the big mysteries around the Wicker Man, it's the story of Britt Eklund's butt double, who it was. So did Britt Eklund know that they were going to bring in a butt double for her? Because clearly all the preparations were made and contracts were made. So was Britt aware that there was someone coming in to do the rear shots, to your knowledge, John W., Mr. Walsh?
I honestly, I can't.
Wilson,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, no.
Okay.
No, I don't know that much, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So you agreed with me that there were 2.5 Wicker Men made. There was the full leg Wicker Man, a short leg Wicker Man, which is further away, and there's a picture of that in the book, isn't there? That colorized photo where they're building it, because you very rarely see photo. I mean, that's the only photo I've ever seen of that short leg. Oh, there's two. Yeah. The short leg Wicker Man, and then there's the head and shoulders for the final shots.
The head was definitely a separate thing, just on a trolley. Yeah.
So what can you tell us about the head and shoulder shot? Because that was a mystery for a long time. So what are your recollections around it?
My recollections are that it was literally just the head. I don't think they did much to the shoulders even. It was bit of the neck, and it was on a scaffold platform with a hinge, and there was a number 2 crew that went to. I don't know whether that's in the call sheets that you've now got.
Second unit,
but there was certainly a team went off almost every day for probably 3 or 4 weeks to try and capture. There were no flames. There were no. It was literally going to be the head going down just as the sun dipped. And of course, they would go up one night and it was foggy. The next night, the sun wasn't in the right position, even if you move the camera around and things. It was. I seem to remember them coming back each night to the hotels or whatever, saying, "No, couldn't do it. It wasn't right. This didn't work." And I'm sure. My reckoning is they went up, and over the course of about 2 or 3 weeks, if not 3 weeks, every night to try and get this one shot of the head going down to capture the right moments. And of course, the big problem with filming in those days was they didn't know what they'd captured until the rushes came back 24 hours later. Nowadays, you would know straight away, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But then, whatever they were filming would go off down to London to be processed, and then come back the next 24 hours later, really, to look at exactly what they captured. But they were pretty sure. I'm sure they went up many times to try and get this one shot. I can't remember the name of the second unit director.
Yeah.
It's on the tip of my tongue. It'll come to me. I can look it up.
Yeah. So,
really good.
So sun would be setting there quite early, wouldn't it? It'd sort of be 4:15, 4:30ish. I mean, if they weren't there at 10 o'clock at night, were they? Would it be quite early in the...
No. It was quite a reasonable time.
Yeah.
I think that was also part of the production problem, was filming at that time of year.
Yeah.
I told you the story about how when we were doing stuff like the jumping over the fire and other long shots.
Yeah.
Many people were given sticks and bags so that when they were ready to shoot, there was an awful lot of picking up leaves that were falling down.
Yeah.
Just to clear them out of the way. Then they'd do the shot, and then they'd set up the next one, and then again you'd go up and pick up leaves and things like that. Plus, of course, if you're doing outdoor filming, it was getting dark by 4:30.
Yeah. So what do you remember of the day when the final burning of the Wicker Man day? You said you were in the office for that?
I was in the office that day, but everybody was on such a high tension because you had one chance basically for the actual... I mean, I think they'd done 2 or 3 days of bits and pieces, arms and legs with chickens and geese and ducks and goats and things like that. But for the actual filming of the thing, everyone was on such a high. For start, they wanted the weather had to be the right sort of weather to whatever they were shooting the head for.
Yes.
So if it had been raining on the day that they set fire to it, they needed rain
for the
on the day they were for the headshots. So there had to be some sort of thing there. But no, everyone was in such a high about it all. But it was, I seem to remember it, and you've got pictures in there that it was actually put out, wasn't it? After they didn't allow it to burn right to the ground.
And you said
probably. They're gone.
Yeah. Well, you said you went to see it later. That day.
I certainly went to see it later, where there was just the stumps and part of the bodywork was still there and stuff like that. Again, one of the biggest problems for someone like me up there, I didn't have things like a mobile phone with me, so I didn't take any pictures. So there must be dozens of films way back in actually probably not going back that far, where the thing exists from only the odd few, and there's some pictures in the book and things, aren't there? Some of the members of the public who were probably up there. But I think lots of people that were on the crew probably said, "Oh well, that's another film done. Let's move on." So
it wasn't.
And I don't think.
Yeah, they didn't realise the significance of it, as it were.
John.
No. It's all very well. Hindsight is a great thing. Go on, sorry, John.
Yeah. Oh, you had a picture though of some women by the Wicker Man that you showed.
Yeah, you shared that with me. It was a shot of a Wicker Man and 3 women sort of standing in the foreground
with a puddle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you don't know who they were?
I don't know who they were, and I don't know how I got hold of it, and I don't know who took it, I'm afraid. So,
okay.
Well, the only 2 pictures I've got are those 2 that I've sent you.
Yes.
Okay.
So there was a rumour that they'd built a Wicker Man in a secret location prior to filming. Had you ever heard that rumour? Or from your point of view, they only ever built the Wicker Man where they built the Wicker Man? There wasn't a test Wicker Man built somewhere else who was then...
I don't think... I have no knowledge of that, if there was, I'm afraid.
Okay. So they burnt the Wicker Man with the longest legs, as it were. So that left the Wicker Man with the short legs. So do you know what happened to the Wicker Man with the short legs?
No.
Right.
Sorry. I'm ignorant.
No, that's all right. So do you think they wouldn't have left... Do we think that's the one that went to Cannes? Or do we think they built a complete new one? Right, okay.
I think so. I mean, we haven't got somebody saying that exactly, but if there are only 2 full length Wicker Man built, I think it's safe to assume that. But we haven't actually gotten somebody to say it. So.
Yeah. I'm trying to think
I presume everything. I presume everything ended up back at Shepperton or somewhere.
Well, I guess, yeah. I mean, there wasn't. They burned the Hero Man was burned, and then we have some, pictures of the stumps. So, and then I don't know what. I guess they just sort of unhinged the shorter man, and packed it up in the truck and took it with them because, as far as I can tell, they didn't burn that one, right?
No, I don't think there's any evidence.
I don't remember the head getting burnt at all.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So Peter Snell wanted to show it at Cannes, and they trucked it down to Cannes, and it was all kind of behind the scenes stuff. But and what happened to it after that? Who knows? Some people think it might have been burned at Cannes. Some people might have been burned somewhere else. But then it disappeared. But that's pretty good. That's pretty good history for it. So.
No, can't help with that, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Okay.
John, have you any burning questions?
Me?
Because I've been. Yes.
Burning questions.
No. Any other questions?
Well, I got a bunch. Let's see. Well, I'm curious about what you donated to the Newton Stewart Museum. Actually, your whole inventory, I'm curious about. So,
I didn't give the museum people anything to do with the Wicker Man.
Okay, but
it was basically I still had my what's it? When you go into a hotel room, you used to get a little folder with headed paper. And there was a postcard or something. And I had a because Wigtown Shire still existed back then. The actual where it was, we all said we went to Wigtonshire, and when you look at I think one of the things I gave you, it says "Welcome to Galloway" or something.
Oh yes, yeah.
And they talked about Wigtonshire, but of course that was dissolved in 1975, and that's when it became a different thing. So I had this booklet of Wigtonshire, which had got a picture of Kirkcudbright and a picture of something. So that was more, to me, pertinent to the Newton Stewart Museum.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
As a local thing.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'd still got in the little brochure thing in the little folder from the Galloway Arms Hotel were all my bills, all my receipts for my eating and drinking.
Okay.
So they now have them because that was, to me, I was spending £2.65 a week or something back then.
Okay.
But you looked at the museum bits, didn't you, John? The newspaper cuttings.
Yeah. Actually, Julie and her husband took pictures of them all, and then we were able to transcribe them and stuff. So we know about pretty much all of the references, which are great.
Well, I met this lady called Kirsty, who said she'd met you, and she was the lady who gave me your card with your contact details on.
Okay.
And in the newspaper, there was an advert for the Galloway Arms Hotel Christmas dinner that year.
Yeah.
And there was like a 9-course dinner for £1.75. So what I was spending in the bar each week at £2.65 must have been quite a decent bit of food and a bit of drink, I think.
Good for the economy.
But it was sad that the hotel was now shut because I'd quite like to have just gone and had a look. But it was
okay.
So that's the only stuff I gave the museum that was actually relevant to Newton Stewart.
Okay.
I didn't give them any Wicker Man stuff.
I was thinking like hotel names and stuff might be peripherally interesting, but not much, I guess. So it'd be the hotels and stuff you went to.
That's what's. Well, some of that's on the list. Where all the various crews stayed, all the guest houses, and I think the people in the hotel certainly looked at those bits of paper because they said to me things like, "Oh, Mr. Thingy's still around, or he died 20 years ago, but their son now lives in such and such a place." Okay. Most of those places, I think the Bruce Hotel. Yep. When I drove through Newton Stewart, there was the Bruce Hotel was still there, but we're talking 50 years ago, so who's running it and what they're like now, I have no idea. But all I know is that every night when we finished and we'd done up all the call sheets, I was the person that had to drive all the way around delivering all the call sheets for the next day.
Yeah, that's great.
So I must have visited every hotel and every boarding house. delivering all these various bits of paper to people.
Okay.
But I think what you've now got, Finton, was I think I covered every day, didn't I?
On the call sheets? Yeah, on the call sheets, I think the first few days are missing, and I was wondering whether that was because that was all happening up in Plockton. You didn't go to Plockton, did you?
I didn't go to Plockton, no.
So you have no knowledge of what they filmed up there, really? I mean...
No, I've got nothing, no knowledge at all, no.
Right, yeah, so the main question with my script head on, so you confirmed there weren't lots of different draft 1, draft 2, draft 3 scripts. There's one single script, which is what we call the pit script, the A, B, C, D, E, and then that script. Because I looked at the one you're giving me. You clearly did rip out pages and replace pages as the shooting went along. So where did all those? So did you bring up a big pile of scripts in the back of your car, or were they all how did everyone get their script copies?
I honestly don't remember many people actually having scripts.
Right.
It would have been the main actors and actresses. I had this thing that there was probably only about 20 every time there was a revision. Yeah. Probably only about 20 sheets or so were rolled off for each one.
Yes.
Because each of them, I mean, obviously the director, producer, editor, and the cameraman, and all this sort of stuff would have had them. But if you were a rigger or whatever they call them, they didn't have scripts and things. So all that happened was they were, and that's why I think they're also on different coloured paper.
Yes.
In my copy, isn't it?
Yes.
So that you could tell this was a rewritten page.
Yes. Yeah. And so, who was doing the rewriting up there? I mean, were you privy to? I mean, did you see someone sitting on a typewriter and someone dictating what the new scenes were? Or was that just Tony Shaffer?
I think Tony was up there. Right. I think Tony was up there, and the person that would have typed them all up would be Beryl Harvey, wasn't it? Beryl Harvey, the production secretary.
Right.
Because she would have had to have typed them on that special paper, the old Gestetner ink things used to have, where you pulled out the. So she was the only person that had access to those sorts of sheets. So whether somebody gave them to her typed or handwritten, I don't know. But all I know is that she would give me a bit of thing and say, John, we need 20 copies of this. And so I had to make sure I didn't ruin the... you could easily squash the print.
Right.
The way those things were typed, if you didn't put it onto the Gestetner properly, it was smudge. And then it had to be retyped because we didn't have word processors back then where everything was sort of set out. And I don't know how she did it because each of those call sheets must have been virtually typed every day with a complete list of everybody.
Yes.
I don't think on those Gestetner things you could have a, what's the word? A dummy. You couldn't have it all set out beforehand and just change them as you would nowadays, would you?
Yeah. So what's the relationship between the call sheet and the production report? So someone at the end of the day must be going, today we filmed this scene, shot this much. Who was physically doing that part of the production?
Every night there'd be a meeting back at Douglas House.
Right.
Either that was the building in Newton Stewart, or it would be outside in the mobile office thing that came around. But there'd be certainly Robin Hardy, there'd be Seamus, there'd be Peter Snell if he was there, and the cameraman. There'd be about 7 or 8 people going through what have we done today? Have we actually finished that whole thing? Do we need to go back? What's on? So they would plan the whole thing and say, well, this was going to be on the schedule anyway. Can we actually get there and do that? Are we so far behind that we can't? That we've got to change everything drastically?
We're gonna run out of time. So, are you happy to carry on? Because I'll send another invite and we can get another 40 minutes. Are you happy?
I'm happy.
All right, okay, you happy, John?
Yep,
okay.
yep. Wonderful.
Report. So the production reports were printed that evening, so everyone would agree what had been filmed, and then that would be sent down to film finance, presumably, in order for them to know that progress has been made on a day-by-day basis. So were you ever at those meetings where they agreed what had been done that day, or was that something you'd not get involved with?
No, I was the runner. I was the messenger boy.
So there's a very mythical scene, a dream sequence. Were you aware that a dream sequence was ever filmed for the Wicker Man?
I'm not aware of that, I'm afraid.
Right. There's also a scene where someone was meant to be in a dinner jacket and jumped in a river, John. Does that ring a bell with you?
Yeah, I think we have some info on that. In one of the documentaries, there was a guy in one of those documentaries who talked about dressing up in, Americans call them tuxedos, you guys a dinner jacket, or I don't know, or whatever you call them, and he's supposed to jump off the bridge in Kukubri, and it didn't happen, but it was just one of those interesting. What if, it would be amazing if it had happened, but
he might be one of the crew. You never know.
He was a local, I think. Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah. No, I don't remember any of that, I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm.
So on a day-to-day basis, Mr. Wilson, who did you report to? Who told you what to do? I mean, it wouldn't have been Robin because he'd have been busy directing. No. So what was your sort of line of command, and who was telling you what to do?
Beryl Harvey was the production secretary, wasn't she? And Ted Morley.
Yeah.
Was it Ted? Yeah, I think it was Ted. They were the two that were sort of, this is what needs to be done, this is where you need to go, this is where you need to take that, this is what we're doing. So they were the two that I was working closely with, and I would only ever be needed to go out to wherever they were shooting if something had been forgotten, or it's funny because I've got in my little diary here, there was on Wednesday the 8th of November, I've got St Ninian's take walkie-talkie. So presumably that's where the cave was, and someone had forgotten. But that, I mean, well, literally, John, that is my diary. That's the whole of the month.
I love it.
So I have literally 2 words, or not a lot of words in each line. But it's. Yeah, so I have no idea why I would need to take a walkie-talkie, whether that had been forgotten, whether, because obviously filming in that cave, they were a distance from each other and all sorts of things, but, or whether stuff ran out of batteries, I don't know. But, no, so it was Ted and Beryl who were telling me what to do, where to go, whether I was needed to go pick someone up, because I often picked people up from Stranraer station that had come up on the night sleeper from Euston. So not only was I the last person to finish every night delivering call sheets, I could often be an early bird, being in Stranraer back then took about half an hour, 40 minutes just from Newton Stewart just to get there. And these people had been on a night sleeper overnight, would get up, and then I'd have to take them back to breakfast in a hotel or straight to wherever they were needed that day or something. And occasionally I would take people back. It might have been during the day, people were taken back just to get an ordinary train back. But they liked the night sleeper for some reason, whether it meant that people could rest and they were staying on a hotel bed for the night or something, I don't know. But it's... yeah, I was back and forward to Stranraer quite a lot with various actors and people, not necessarily big name people, but people that were just coming up for a day, doing their bit and then going away again.
Would we be able to see those diaries? Is that something you would feel comfortable making cell phone pictures of them? I mean, that's probably an amazing record right there.
I could take a couple of pictures of these and send them to you.
Oh, yes, I'd love that. I'd love that.
You might not. you might not quite understand my
the handwriting.
and you have to ignore all the girls' names that we.
Okay, well, yeah, we can edit stuff and all that, but
No,
I think
seriously,
that'd be an
this is-
amazing resource. Yeah.
Certainly, it covers all sorts of things about just day to day where I was, whether there was a party somewhere, or where we might have gone to various parties or
That's
things like that. But it's
Okay.
I could photograph. It's only 2 or 3 pages there.
Oh, that's
but
great.
I'm happy to do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'll put them in an email to you.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
That's all right.
So, I mean, was it a happy shoot, or was it a very stressful, tense shoot, and everyone was falling out?
I think you could always see the stress in people's. By the time I got back to the Galloway Arms Hotel each night, there was stress because, of course, Robin and Tony Shaffer and the big people stayed at the other hotel. I think it was the Kiritri Arms, wasn't it, or one of those two. But certainly around the production side of things, the conversations that I seem to remember with Beryl and Ted, there was always, it's not normally like this. I don't think they were ever away from London that much. You know, they might have been a production secretary, but probably in somewhere like Shepperton Studios. It was a long time to be away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. As I say, it took me 11 hours to drive up there.
Yes.
So it wasn't an easy thing just to be able to move around and have contact with your family even and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think people were, certainly by the middle of November, people were very tired of the amount of driving everyone was doing.
Yeah.
Because even if you were only at, say, Culzean Castle for 2 or 3 days, when we were up there in October, it took us about an hour and a half from Newton Stewart just to get to Culzean Castle. Mm-hmm. And that's with modern roads.
Yeah.
So just to get things like generators and camera crews and stuff like that up there, there was that whole, we've got another drive each day. And if you forgot something, then that was where the difficulties came. You couldn't just turn around and pick things up and stuff. So huge, you couldn't go in convoy. Certainly, I seem to remember a discussion quite near the beginning, but they wouldn't allow people to drive in convoys because then you'd be accused of blocking the roads. We had to get on with the local people. And if you'd got 3 or 4 trucks and a few cars and vehicles with crew going around, you weren't encouraged to, I'll follow you. Because that caused a blockage around all sorts of things. So there was definitely this feeling that you couldn't leave the moment we finished because each day because you'd be blocking the road. Newton Stewart back then wasn't a big place. I don't think it's still a very big place, but the roads were anywhere like they are nowadays. There was a lot of there was bickering, I think, was taking place between people as to, have we finished this? Did we get everything we wanted? Why are we and I think this goes back to what I said earlier. Why are we concentrating on little things, not the bigger thing?
Yeah.
And when you read the script, there are lots of little pieces that are almost like to me, almost like an advertising script where cut into this, going close to that, do this, do that. Which I suppose is what the director's looking at, but almost too much concentration some days on that sort of stuff, which I suppose when you look back at the film, it works. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if many of the crew had worked on films that were feature film crew as opposed to advertising crew. And the crews that I worked in, I certainly remember when we made 30-second commercials, people were used to focusing on little details and stuff like that. I don't know whether the people that were going around up in Scotland were used to that sort of filming.
And was there any feeling that, oh my God, we're never going to get this finished and we're going to run out of time? And I mean, towards the end, was it pressurized or was everyone starting to relax and wind down and thinking most of it's in the can now?
I think they thought, no, we've captured everything we need up here.
Nice.
We can do anything else back in London if we need to, because it was mainly there. By this time, we're getting to near the end of November. Light wouldn't be the same, trees wouldn't be the same, and all that sort of stuff. So interior stuff you could actually mock up if you wanted to, but also you've got things like they wanted to get out of buildings.
Yeah.
You know, if like the Ellen Gowan Hotel, nothing else happened in that hotel for a week while they were doing all the various bits and pieces in there. So people wanted to get back to some normality. Otherwise, you build it in a studio and not have to worry about local people. I think also there was a feeling I remember the first couple of weeks up in Newton Stewart, everyone was excited. The local people, you know, you'd go into the bar each night and people were talking and there was, oh, isn't this wonderful? I think 8 weeks later, when are you lot going home?
Yes.
Sort of thing. You know, we've had enough. Although there were obviously people up there earning some decent money.
Yeah.
Out of holiday season, if you've got your guest house full of a film crew, then you must be lapping it up. But whether people knew they were going to be there for that long, I don't know. But it became, I think some of the local people, for instance, who the Galloway Arms Hotel was the place where they've got a restaurant and a little stage at the end with these people playing, a little 12-year-old girl playing the violin, and mum and grandma playing the piano and stuff like that. It was obviously a very popular place on a Saturday night. Well, if you've suddenly got 20 other people coming to there because it's the only decent restaurant in town and the locals can't get in, then I think there was this beginning to get this resentment of let's try and get back to normal if we can. That was just sort of my feeling at the time.
So were there any scenes that you saw shot? Because I mean, I presume a lot of the time you were in the office and zooming from here to here. But can you remember saying, "Oh, well, I was there when they shot that," and I remember.
I was at a distance when they did a sort of the outside bits. I spent a bit of time in Kakubri one day or 2 days, where again when I was there this last month, the outside of a building while someone walks across and stuff. But I think the thing is, when you're being asked to stop the traffic while they just film a bit, you don't see what they're shooting.
Yeah.
So I don't remember that. I wasn't that involved right at the front. I was just, oh, John's here. John, can you stop these lorries coming past while we do that sort of stuff? So you're not watching what's going on. You're making sure that you're trying to have an argument as a 19-year-old long-haired, scruffy Londoner with a big, beefy lorry driver from Scotland saying, would you really not drive down the road right this moment? You can go in 2 minutes. Sorry, I shouldn't do that. That's a bit bad, really. But you know what I mean? It was so I don't remember being around that much of it. Sadly.
So what was the actual process of the filming? So they'd shoot it on the camera and then the rushes would then get sent to London, then they'd come back the next.
I think they'd go off to Glasgow Airport. I think they went to the airport to be flown down.
Right, and they were so they were developed in London, then brought back up. So what was the function of that big mobile editing suite van thing they had?
I seem to remember the whole of the top floor of the bus, or it was the lorry bus, was an editing suite.
Right.
And during the day, Harry and whoever could put together a rough cut of what they'd done so often, and that's the sort of thing that would then happen when they'd finished shooting for the day. That's when they'd go back, see the rough cut. Bearing in mind, that's now 48 hours old.
Yes.
So they're now looking at stuff which is 48 hours old. Did we capture that? Did we capture this? Can we, will that work? Do we need to go back and do those other bits and pieces? It was because when I left the Wicker Man, I went and worked with a film editor for 5 or 6 years. And certainly there was this big Steenbeck 35mm film thing, and
editing
they could
table,
do all sorts of stuff on it. And there was a little screen at the far end of it, I seem to remember, and they could certainly get a good idea. And I don't remember whether they were, because of course the whole thing is shot out of sequence.
Yes.
I don't know how many of the sequences were being put together. I don't think there was much. It was all daily shooting as opposed to starting to put together a rough cut of what was going to be in the end. I mean, obviously they've got some idea of what they wanted, but no, the daily thing was really just look at the rushes, what we got, are we all happy with it? I don't even remember the actors. Christopher Lee and Edward Woodward might have come in, but I don't remember many other people coming into that to see what had been cut or what had been filmed that day, the day before.
Eric Boyd Perkins be doing that?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was up there. Yeah.
There's a picture. There's a picture of I think it's Eric Boyd Perkins editing in that editing suite, which I'll send to you. It was in one of the documentaries, and I'm curious if you recognize it. It shows him.
I'll be interested.
Yeah.
So in the John Walsh book, there's a picture of the crew with the Hand of Glory.
Oh yes.
Do we know where that was taken?
No idea.
In London.
I'll have a closer look if I think of roughly. Because that's the trouble. Where did all this stuff go?
That was in London, I think. That was in London.
Right,
I think with
so
Seamus.
With Seamus. That would have been that. So would that have been in Eaton Square? Probably not, would it? It would have been in
Shepperton or something. I mean, well, actually, but they weren't.
Shepperton, I think.
Yeah, although they weren't in Shepperton a lot. I remember Alan Brown talked about Seamus saying he wandered around Shepperton wondering where the offices were. He couldn't even find where the Wicker Man offices were. So they weren't a big presence in Shepperton, but those were, I think, done in London, if not in Shepperton or an office somewhere before the
I don't remember
shoot.
That. No, I don't remember that. Because, of course, you were saying the other day when I showed you my contract, it's a totally different headed paper.
Yes.
To other, what do you call them?
British
headings.
Yes.
Because he went through, and how many times was it sold? I have no idea, but
okay.
I'd like to know whether anyone made any money out of the whole thing.
It didn't. I'm very curious about the pre-production, and you were working there then. We'd talked about some recent developments. I had read in Alan Brown's book that they put together a showreel because they had shot footage of the phallic topiary and the women walking through the orchards and the aerials of the orchards, which were shot in South Africa. And were you involved in any of that or know anything about that?
I remember there was a day we went filming in Gloucestershire somewhere, I think.
Evesham?
And there were women. I think it was in where?
Evesham.
Evesham.
That might be Evesham, Gloucestershire, yeah. And
okay.
there was apple trees, and women were walking along, touching the trees as they went along. I was there that day. I remember that.
Oh, right, okay,
so you prompted me, haven't you?
Yes. So they were pregnant women, and they were blessing the apple trees walking along. Yes.
Yes. We had to find. I mean, these were properly pregnant women. These were not women wearing prosthetics or anything like that.
They were near term.
Well, the Evesham. The Evesham Historical Society had somebody that said, there was a maternity ward that used the women, so that all lines up. That's great.
Yeah, no, I can remember. It was like sort of misty or something, and they're walking through, touching the trees and stuff. I can see you taking me back. I'm there.
Because Howie watches that as he's on the carriage ride to somewhere else castle. Is that right? I think that's when he sees it. Yeah, and then he sees the fire leap. Yeah, the girls around the fire.
No, I remember that day. So that was way big. Yeah, that was months before.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. And what about the orgy? The orgy scene. Do you remember shooting? Was the orgy scene shot before or after?
After. It was shot in January.
Right, in January.
At the Wookiee Hole, yeah.
Right.
Still cold.
But now you wouldn't have been involved with that because that was post-production.
No. Yeah, no.
It was in January.
I'd finished the day I forget what day I got that letter when I was released. Once I'd gone, Robin Hardy never spoke to me again, I don't think. I saw him I passed him one day on a bus in the middle of Russell Square in London. I looked down, I thought, oh, I've been down there, but I mean, this was donkeys years ago. But no, I didn't get. It was almost like I'd finished with the filming, and he was so then involved with other bits. But and then obviously still doing stuff with British Lion. British Lion didn't want to take me on again, and Robin didn't need me, so I went to work for this Cynthia Moody doing editing, which was totally different, calm.
If we could go back to the pre-production stuff, do you remember going to David Hemming's estate in I'm drawing a blank, but to shoot the phallic topiary? It was in.
I don't remember going to that.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I've got no.
Okay. Do you remember anything?
No recollection, I'm afraid.
Anything about the South African orchard footage? Because that was shot apparently by the agents, by Robbins and Shaffer's agency, along with that other stuff. They went. And I'm drawing blanks, and if I have my notes, I could do it. But the guy who did the aerial photography for the film was in South Africa and shot orchards, and that was all done, as I say, before they put together a show reel, and they were ready to have that in case they needed to sell it to another studio, and they lined up with British Lion. Does that sound familiar at all? The show reel? Okay.
Off the top of my head, no. But they sort of. Now I've got my diary in front of me. I'll send you photographs of the 2 pages that are relevant to this.
Okay.
But obviously, I may have something in here that says, then there was filming that.
It would have been in June or even earlier. We think they shot the orchards in June, and so it could have been around that time. It could have been earlier than that, but it was probably ready by June. The whole reel would have been ready by June or so, I think.
I'd have to look back and see whether I've got any recollection. Again, I just have one line in my diary and things like this. But I'll have a look and see if I can think of any, if it prompts my brain at all.
Excellent.
But no, it's just, I was just, you just soak up what you could. Yeah. But you don't think you're still going to be talking about it like 50 years later. Trying to remember.
Well, it's amazing. It's amazing. You got amazing resources. It's just, and we're learning a lot from it. So thank you.
I'm sorry for you two that it's been sitting there for 50 years.
But it came up.
But it would have solved the mystery of how they did the head burn, the bowing head. Literally, up until that photo appeared, how many years ago? It wasn't that long ago.
A couple of years ago. Yeah.
2 years ago, none of us had any idea how they shot it. And because the Alan Brown book doesn't imply they were going out every night with a head on a table waiting for the right sunset to come at all. So that's fascinating.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if some of those call sheets say 2nd unit down at Barrow Head or something like that. Right. I haven't read them for such a long time. But no, I'm just grateful that I went into the museum.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Talked to them, and they said to me, "Have you been here before?" And I said, "Yes, 50 years ago." And suddenly this lady was, "Oh, come and look at all the photographs, all the newspapers. There it is, American here last year filming." And she goes, so it's nice to be put in touch, and I'm glad that you are prompting my brain enough to
Oh, it's great.
So, we won't keep you much longer, but Mr. Wilson.
Well, I got the impression almost when I joined Hardy Shaffer Associates that they were just there as a working title, as a company, and that Robin was doing the adverts. Tony was just a partner. I don't remember him getting involved in any of the adverts and things that we were doing and stuff. But then he'd turn up and they'd be talking about this project. And there would often be, they'd be sitting in the one corner, because I think you remember it's quite a big open plan office thing. And they'd be poring over bits and pieces. They were, I can't remember whether they were actually arguing with each other, but there's certainly, you just felt as I said earlier, that while we were actually up there filming, Robin was so, I want this. And then, why would a director like that, when you've employed an art director, you've employed cameramen, you've employed all these other people, be so focused on a loaf of bread?
Yeah.
And that's the issues, I think, that started to spill out if they were going to have an argument about things. But to say, at night time, they were in a different hotel to me, so I didn't hear any of those sorts of discussions, I'm afraid.
Were you aware there was any stress about how the film would end? Because clearly the end scenes, the burning scenes, happened fairly early on in the shoot, didn't they, from my memory?
Yes. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So if there was any stress about, oh my God, how are we going to end it? That stress must have been quite early on in the filming process. So do you remember there being lots of rewrites of the ending and they were kept changing it?
No, no, right. I can't remember those sorts of things, I'm afraid.
Hang on, I'm just having another swig of beer. So,
beer?
Yeah,
a cup of tea.
No, I wish it was.
Water.
So, thank you so much for giving us so much of your time. Next time we'll do it on Google Meet, which means we don't have a 5-minute toilet break in the middle.
Oh, right, okay.
So, how do you feel? So, if we were to literally sit and watch The Wicker Man from beginning to end with you and just pause it and go, what do you remember about that? I mean, do you feel would you be up for that, or would you say, well, actually, I was in the office, I don't know how they did that, or I mean, what's your?
We can give it a try. I've got no problems. I'm just it's one of those things that obviously all my family and a few friends knew that I'd been on this film, and every now and again I say to people, I've worked on The Wicker Man, and they go, oh, that Wicker Man. They say, because they always mention that, because I'm I'm a lot older than some of my younger colleagues at work, they think I'm talking about the Nicolas Cage one. And I've never seen that. I've never seen it because I'm just not interested. But yes, within the family, people say, oh, John did The Wicker Man.
Yeah.
But I don't think my parents were not cinema goers. I don't think my parents ever saw. They weren't interested in that sort of thing. So I don't even know whether my two boys, who are now in their 40s, have ever seen it. Because again, not because of me or anything like that. Although they might have seen it on television or something, but a version. So this is all me. It was part of me. As I say, I was a 19-year-old. I could probably tell you an awful lot about a lot of the girls' names that are in my diary. Life was good, I have to say. You're up in a 19-year-old Londoner with long hair and and a beard, driving a car, attached to the film crew. And there's lots of times in my diaries when I say party at such and such and going to such and such. Life was good. Whether I should have remembered a bit more about it, I don't know. But no, I'm happy to listen. You two obviously dead passionate about the whole thing, and I'm chucked to pieces. And I'm really pleased that the lady in the museum put me in contact. It's really great. I'm glad that I've been able to pass on the bits that I had, and that you'll treasure them and do whatever. And happy to talk at any time.
Excellent.
Do whatever you think.
And we can put this on YouTube, or can we put this on Facebook and YouTube? I think people will want to hear this and see this.
Don't mind, yes. Yes, if you like, yes, I don't mind.
Okay, thank you. Wonderful.
Well, after all, my name's on the cast on the crew list already, isn't it?
Yes.
I need to put you on the wiki, but yeah, I need.
I don't mind, yes. Whatever.
I want to put all those people, and actually, I remember that the cast list that you sent to me, I guess, that has some names that I've never heard of. And I want to ask you about those at some point, but I'd love to put those names on the wiki too, and and give everybody credit so that everybody.
If whatever we've got has helped build a picture of the whole thing, then it's
great.
No, happy.
Great. So So do you think? So what would make you remember things most? If we kind of go day by day, or we go scene by scene, or is it easier to go person by person and go, what do you remember about Brit? What do you remember about Harry Waxman? I mean, what do you think your best way of?
I'll tell you what I'll do. I've got a copy of the film here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say a copy, one of the whatever it was. I'll look at it again.
Yeah.
In the whole, and see what else that brings up. I'll get in touch with you both and say, actually, I can remember that, I can remember this, I can remember that.
Yes.
And then perhaps we could talk again
Yeah,
to see how the best way to do it. I haven't seen it myself properly. I'll sit down and watch it in the next week or so.
Okay.
And that will conjure up more thoughts about what I can remember.
Okay.
And do we have a version we'd want him to watch? Which would be the best version?
I think the director's cut, because I mean, let's get info about all those scenes.
Yeah, that's the longest version. Is the director's cut, which isn't the final cut. It's the director's cut.
I've got a DVD thing that's got 2 CDs in it. I think one of them is the director's cut.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you look at the director's cut, that has the most footage.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't have one or two little things that the others do, but that's kind of weird. But that's okay.
That's the thing. I'll have a look at it over the next.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
But it has the mainland scenes, which was shot in Stranraer, from the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't have been anywhere near. Would you have been near Stranraer when they were filming?
Oh yeah.
I might have been actually. Right. Because it's only down the road. It's down the road.
Yeah.
It's let me have a look at it. I'll look at it in the next few days.
Okay.
And get back to you. But if you've got any other questions, I am happy to.
Oh, that's great.
Share this. I'm chuffed to pieces that we've managed to do this. As long as you're happy, I'm happy.
We're delighted. If I'd known we were going to show it, I'd have done my head.
I did wash my hair.
Yeah. Brilliant. Fantastic. John, both Johns, thank you very much.
Okay.
We will meet again. We will Google Meet again. We won't Zoom again.
Yes.
I mean, Google Meet's a lot easier. And fantastic. And we will speak again. And John, thank you so much for keeping the flame alive, as we say, of Wicker Man.
Well, thank you. It's nice to meet you both again.
Yes. Brilliant.
John, the first time. And let's talk soon.
Okay.
Brilliant. God bless you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay, thanks.
Bye, John.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.